And in this particular video, we're going to be talking about the domain and range of functions. Now, there's a lot of different type of questions when it comes to finding the domain and range of functions. And oftentimes you're given the graph of a function and you're told to identify the domain and range. And that is the case in this particular problem. But I have another question for you here. Why is this even a function? Okay, maybe I could just throw in a question here, a bonus question. If this is a function, or why is this a function? Okay, so if you know the answer to this question, go ahead and put that into the comment section along with the domain and range of this function. So obviously the answer is yes, this graph does represent a function, but why? So let's go ahead and first answer why this graph represents a function. Now there's a lot of kind of details I can get into, but I'm simply going to just tell you, you can use this test right here, something called the vertical line test. Now, if you've never heard of the vertical line test, you definitely need to kind of learn this, right? So you probably haven't learned as much as you need to about functions. Okay, now again, functions is a huge topic, so I can't possibly try to explain everything here, but effectively, the vertical line test is a kind of a graphical test that we can use to determine whether a graph is a function. So the way the vertical line test works is if I draw a vertical line anywhere through this graph, okay, not an angle line, a perfectly vertical line, anywhere through this graph, and if it only intersects the graph one time, it passes the vertical line test. So if you had some sort of graph like this, for example, you can obviously see a vertical line passes through that more than once. This passes through two times, so this would fail the vertical line test. So because this graph passes the vertical line test, it does represent a function. Okay, so that is kind of the bonus question here, but let's go ahead and get into the domain and range of this function. And of course, you can kind of see this point right here, 2, 1, which is representing or is the location of this coordinate right here. Okay, this open circle. So the domain and range are what? Well, there's a couple different ways you can express this, but effectively the domain is all x is greater than 2, where x is a part or element of the real number set, and the range is all y is greater than 1, where y is an element or a part of the real number set. Now there's another way to express this using interval notation. Now if you just said these right here, I would definitely give you full credit, but you want to be more specific and be like, okay, well, if x is greater than 2, what is x? Okay, like in other words, what number system is x a part of? And we are talking about the real number system. So as you kind of get into more advanced mathematics, these little details are not like trivial, right? You need to kind of put this in, but I'll show you another way to express the domain and range here in just 1 second. But let's just do a real quick review of some basic concepts. So here we have a function f of x. Let's call it f of x is equal to x squared. Okay, so we have this x and we have this x squared. All right, now remember in terms of function language, f of x is equal to y. All right, so f of x is equal to y, just in case you didn't know that. So if you're looking at this as a quadratic function, it definitely is. This would be its respective quadratic equation. Y is equal to x squared. So f of x again is equal to y. So I can just change out this f of x and put a y right there, right? So again, this is a quadratic equation. This is a quadratic function. Now, if we take a look at the graph of this, hopefully you remember that the graph of x squared, y equals x squared, is a basic parabola. Let me just kind of erase. Matter of fact, I'll erase all of this here just so it gets a little bit more room. Just kind of set up this explanation for those that might be a little bit confused. We'll kind of do this little problem here before we take on this bigger problem. Okay, so right here is the x-axis, here is the y-axis. So if I was to graph y equals x squared, it would be effectively a parabola that goes through the origin and kind of bounces right there at 0, 0, and there you go. And we can kind of see that, in fact, this is indeed graphically a function because this graph is passing the vertical line test. Okay, so what is the domain of a function? Well, the domain is all the input values, okay, all the input values. So what can we put into the function? Well, the input value into the function is this x right there, okay? So all the x's are the set of kind of the x variable is what we call the independent variable. It's our input variable. Now, oftentimes a function, you just can't put anything into a particular function. There could be very well restrictions. So the allowable set of input values you could plug into a function is what we call the domain of the function. Okay. Now, once you put in all the set of these allowable input input values into the function, we're going to get an associated output value. Okay. And all those sets of the respective set of output values based upon the input values, this is called the range of a function. Okay, so again, the range is dependent upon the domain. Okay, that's what we call the y variable, the dependent variable, x is the independent variable. So basically what I want you to do is to associate the domain of a function with the x-axis, okay? All the x values that are kind of covered with the graph, right? And then the y values, wherever the y values are going on, that's going to be where the range is at. So if we look here carefully, what are the set of allowable inputs into this function right here? Can we put in negative values? Yep, no problem there. We could put negative values because we're going to be able to kind of plot those on our graph. We could put in positive values. Matter of fact, we could put in any x we want, all right, because this graph is spanning the entire x-axis. So here, the domain would be the entire real number system. Okay, it would be all these real numbers. There would be no restrictions on it. So you could basically say x is just a part of the real number system. No restrictions at all. Any x value you can plug in here, and I can't think of any x value because there isn't. Whether it be a positive, negative number, decimal, square root, doesn't make a difference. We can square it, not a problem. Okay, but what is the respective range of this function? Well, that's a different deal. Now, if you look graphically, this graph is only going from the positive, it's only coming from 0 to the positive y-axis, okay? It's going up this way, right? It's not covering any negative values. So the range is going to be all y's greater than or equal to 0, okay? Well, y is a part of the real number system, okay? Because that's where this graph is covering. It starts from 0 on the y-axis and just goes up all the way to positive infinity. So you got to be able to read a graph and basically determine the domain and range. And this is a pretty simple example. Now, if you're already confused, I'm kind of quickly going over major concepts in mathematics about functions, domain, range. I have additional videos on my YouTube channel on all of these topics, but I'm going to really suggest that you check out like my Algebra 1 or Algebra 2 course, or for some of you that are more advanced, I want to check out like my pre-calculus course. Okay, all right, so now let's go ahead and get into this problem now. So looking at this graph, we already know it's a function. So again, the domain, we're going to look at the x-axis, okay? This graph is covering what on the x-axis? Well, it's starting from here and covering, kind of basically think of it like if the sun was casting down here, what would be the shadow? It's covering all these x's, right? Okay, so it's not starting. This open circle means it's not including 2, all right? So we got this xy point. So this is 2 right here, okay? But that is open, meaning that it does not include the point 2. So it's everything greater than 2 this way to the right, okay? So once you kind of just like focus in on the x-axis, like, okay, this graph is covering where on the x-axis? Well, everything greater than 2, we can go ahead and define that as the domain. Okay, so the domain is all x is greater than 2, where x is an element of the real number set. So this would be an appropriate way to define the domain. Another way you can do this, as I kind of indicated in the beginning of this video, is by using something called interval notation. All right, so this is kind of a Probably this is more commonly used for more advanced mathematics. Now, I really don't want to explain interval notation. It's not that difficult, but basically, if it's greater than but not greater than or equal to, we're going to use a parenthesis. If it's greater than or equal to, we would use a square bracket. Okay, so if we had this situation, we'd use a bracket like this. If it's just greater than, we use a open parenthesis. So this is our left hand, our left part of our interval, and then our right part, this is going to positive infinity. So you could write this notation this way, to positive infinity. So if you don't understand interval notation, I teach this in my pre-calculus course. As this, again, when you're in more advanced mathematics, you will use interval notation, but all of you out there should be able to understand this. Okay, so that is the domain. Again, you want to focus in on that independent variable x and just concentrate on the x-axis. And this can get a little bit tricky, especially with more difficult graphs. But let's go ahead and take a look at the range. So the range, you're going to focus in on the y-axis. So this graph is covering what on the y-axis? Well, it's starting from all values greater than 1. Okay, so remember, here is y, 2 is x, so we're concentrating on 1, so everything above 1 is what this graph is covering, okay, on the y-axis. So we can go ahead and define that as the range. Being all y is greater than or equal to 1, where y is element of the real number system, or again, we can use the interval notation. The range is 1, and it's going towards positive infinity. Okay, so if it was going down like this, this is negative infinity, this is positive infinity, this is negative infinity over here, and this is positive infinity over here. Okay, so again, the domain and range, your ability to identify this is going to be a common task, especially as you get into more advanced mathematics. And there is a ton of additional things you need to know about functions and relations and inverse functions. And I can just go on and on and on and on. But here's the deal, okay? Whatever you don't understand, you can learn, right? Math, although there is a tremendous amount of information, it's nothing beyond your ability to learn. It really comes down to your ability not to learn, but your ability to organize yourself and to focus. Okay, and again, I think a lot of times students also kind of skip a lot of steps. They're like, I don't want to learn that foundational stuff. I just want to learn what I need to know for tomorrow's test or quiz. If you're trying to learn math by cramming information, but like, I don't care about that other stuff. I just want to know what I need to do great on tomorrow's test, it's not going to work out too well, okay, because you do need all that additional information. So really there are no shortcuts if you truly want to learn this. So I'm going to encourage you to, look for your weaknesses. Don't be afraid to find them. If you find something you don't understand, that's something that you can improve, and it will all add up in a very positive direction for you. Okay, so with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.